it does not define me. Yes, you hurt me, but I no longer hurt. Yes, you took something of value from me, but now I found value again in myself. Therefore, that which you took is no longer needed because I've already found back my value. Or if it's with a health situation, so there is no person to get closure back from, but just the situation in itself. This is now my new normal. And I'm okay with that.
Acceptance.
It's acceptance all over again. It's just changing that this path that I was on has taken a turn. And it doesn't mean it's heading to a dead end. It's just a turn. Let's go down this new path now and make it my own.
You know, we have talked about in sharing these stories how sometimes even in the retelling, it can take you right back to that place.
Yes.
And you feel that pain, you feel those emotions all over again. I love what you said about when you get to that place and you don't feel it. When you can get to the place, and that's what we've seen a lot of on our show. People have gotten to that place where they can share their story to help someone else. And they can share that story without feeling any anger or any hatred or any regret.
Yes.
They've gotten to a place where they can share those stories in order to help someone else.
Absolutely.
And that's when you know that healing has truly taken place.
Absolutely.
When you're willing to pull the covers off.
Yes.
And say.
That's actually how you find out if you do need closure. Because sometimes events have happened, you dissociate from the situation, meaning you just completely become oblivious. It's so in the far back of your mind that you don't even think about it. But out of sight, out of mind does not equate to closure.
It doesn't equate to healing either.
Definitely not.
No.
So the retelling of it can also let you know, have I really gotten over this? Have I really come to closure with this? Have I really taken back the power? Closure does not involve the situations that created the issue. Closure just simply requires a made-up mind of an individual who is sick and tired of being sick and tired and wants to empower themselves again.
A conscious decision. A conscious decision.
Yes.
Okay. Well, we're going to come back with more from Dr. Deborah Williams in just a moment. I did not know that I had gotten to that place of closure until I was able to see that person that caused my hurt, that caused my pain, and I didn't feel anything.
Yep.
And I up until that point, I wanted to kill them.
Yeah.
I wanted them to pay for what they did to me. I wanted them to suffer. I wanted them to know just how bad they had hurt me. But because I believe the Bible, I believe that in order for God to hear my prayers, I cannot walk in unforgiveness. So I had to pray and ask God to help me to forgive, even though that person never acknowledged it, what they did hurt me, even though they couldn't care less about what happened to me. Yeah. So that keeps coming up in my thought process. I got to that place and I didn't even know that it had taken place until I saw that person and I didn't feel anything. I didn't feel any anger. I felt nothing.
Yeah.
And I walked away at peace. I walked away feeling so good because I realized that I was no longer carrying all of that
burden,
anger, and that frustration and that sadness that I had been released from that. Yes. So that's the powerful part, getting to that place where it no longer has any power over you.
Absolutely.
So I love what you said about taking back your power. That is so powerful to me.
And I think that's why Jesus tells us to cast our cares upon him.
Yeah.
And take his burden and his yoke, because by doing that you have transferred that burden and that pain and that anguish and that suffering over to him, because he can bear it.
Yeah.
He says that he will never give us more than we can bear. That doesn't mean we don't give ourselves more than we can bear.
Yeah.
So that's why he constantly tells us to cast it back on him and to forgive, because the forgiveness again is never about that person. It is about you.
It's about
because you shoot me, you run and gone. I'm left with the bullet wound. You're not going to allow me to heal. I have to
I
heal.
have to heal.
So I cannot say you are the person that's going to help me to heal. It's my body. It's my mind.
Yeah.
It's my emotions and it's my will. So it has to be me that does the healing.
And taking back that power.
Absolutely.
Because when you think about it, if you're looking to the person that hurt you to facilitate your healing,
You haven't given back the power to yourself.
yeah, and very seldom does that happen.
No, very seldom.
Yeah.
And
very
again,
seldom.
it doesn't matter. Because even though I can have somebody who's hurt me tell me that they're sorry, they may not mean it. And I don't trust them anymore. Because they've also broken my trust through the process of hurting me. You have also broken my trust. So I don't know if you're sincere. I don't know if you'll ever do it to me again. So what is truly the purpose of them apologizing? Why are you waiting on this apology? You have to work on yourself.
Why are you waiting for that apology? That's good, and that's a great question that we might have to ask of ourselves.
Yes.
Why is that important to me? Why do I need that?
And will it really make a difference?
And will it help me in the long run?
And we're back from break. So that's the end of the show.
We are back with Dr. Deborah Williams. Dr. Deborah, let's talk about closure when it comes to the thought that at times we are our own worst enemy. What happens when we have an issue with ourselves? If maybe it's something that we've done, if maybe we've caused pain to someone else, how does closure play out in that instance?
When you find that you may have been the one to have hurt somebody and you want closure for that, a lot of times that is a self-actualization that you realized you have caused someone else's pain. And so a lot of times a part of that closure does come with you asking that person for forgiveness. You going to that person and acknowledging what it is that you've done is wrong. You finding it within yourself and recognizing, yeah, that was very messed up for what it is that I've done.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to forgive yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So the same ideas of what you would do as the victim, you also have to do as the victor.
From the other side.
From the other
From the
side.
side.
But I would say that I find that when people come to that self-actualization, they're probably going to be the ones to apologize to their victim.
Mm-hmm.
Because that is part of their healing process as well too, is to get out what I did to you was wrong,
Mm-hmm.
and I am sorry. Those will be the few times that you do find those true, sorrowful
Mm-hmm.
people that will come back into your life and said, you know, what I did to you was wrong, and I'm sorry, because that is a part of that person's journey to their
And
own
that person's
closure
healing.
and their
And
healing
their
as
healing.
well.
Taking responsibility for our own actions and then acting on that
Yes.
in order to make a difference. Not necessarily for the other person,
But
because
just for yourself.
right, forgiveness
Yes.
doesn't just free someone else,
It frees
but
yourself.
it frees us as well.
Absolutely.
So taking that action and going back
Yes.
and saying, because in most cases we know when we've hurt someone,
Mhm.
we know when we've done wrong, we know that when we've caused pain. We're not always willing to acknowledge it. We're not always in a place where we can acknowledge it.
Yeah.
But getting to that place of acknowledgement
Yes.
will help the other person, but it will also help us to be able to move forward.
And it's also a concern too of pride,
Mm.
because a lot of times we don't want to be proven wrong. We don't want to necessarily admit when we've done something wrong. So it takes true humility to recognize when you have done something wrong to someone else. And when you come to that recognition, that becomes the catalyst through which you can now offer to a person the apology that they may have been looking for. That is when you can get to the point where you can now say, yes, I recognize that I've done something wrong, and I'm asking you for forgiveness. Because it does take true humility to put yourself out there like that. Who wants to be seen as being a mean person or
Right.
a horrible
A bad
person or a
person.
bad person to
Yeah.
cause someone pain? But when you come to that point, pride is no longer an issue. you're not trying to make yourself look like something. You're trying to find peace on the inside. And when that desire for peace on the inside is the strongest force in you, you're willing to go through very big measures to get that peace on the inside.
Yes. So sometimes closure involves taking a good hard look at yourself, and doing a self-examination of what is my role in this.
Yes.
I want to look outside of myself, and I want to be able to point the finger at someone else or blame someone else. But sometimes we have to take a look at ourselves and say, okay, if I want closure, if I want to move forward, what is my responsibility in this? What can I do for myself to get that closure? What can I do to move myself forward? Because in this instance, it really is about me.
It is.
It really is about
And that's
me.
not a selfish thing.
And that's not a bad thing.
No, it's not.
That's not a bad thing.
No.
Acknowledging where we are, acknowledging what has happened. We're not ever saying that you discredit what has happened,
Yeah.
but acknowledge what has happened.
Yeah. And also don't discredit pulling people in to help you. We're in a society where independence is glamorized over the collective group. Find a core group of people that you can lean on. It may only be 2 people. I have heard a pastor say one time, you probably will only have 3 good friends in your entire life.
Yeah.
Find your group. Always look for people that are there to build you up for no personal gain of their own, but they truly are invested in you.
They care about you.
That always helps, so that when you feel like you're kind of sliding back in your process, they hold you accountable. They keep you going forward. They give you that boost that you need. Relationship with good people is an amazing healing salve for when you are trying to go through your healing process. So don't deny yourself the company of others. Because that's one of the main things that happens when you're going through pain, is you want to
Isolation.
and go by yourself.
Right.
That's where depression comes in. That's where mental illness, schizophrenia, anxiety, all of these different mental issues that take place. It's usually when that person has really started to separate from people physically, and then their mind
Emotionally.
starts to separate within them. Connect yourself to people. And as a personal note, a relationship with Jesus Christ is a major catalyst to that healing process, because he can help you to do the work where people fall short.
People can't.
He can help you with that process. But of course, if you are not religious, you can still find that healing if you get yourself a good core group of people that will not only be your support, but also be an accountability
partner.
to you.
Yeah.
Because you have to be held accountable for what it is that you said that you're going to do.
Yeah.
Because we will want to stop.
Pull back. Yeah.
We will want to cut it.
Yeah.
It gets too painful.
It's
We
too
don't
hard.
want to do this.
Yeah.
But they're there to gently push you forward, to keep you focused on what it is that you're trying to do, so that you can get to that goal of what it is, which is that true closure. And true healing. And as the talk show is, start walking in your purpose, because you have survived.
We have talked a lot about closure and getting to that place of being able to move forward in your life. And it's been said that no man is an island.
No.
Reality is we need one another.
We do.
We need one another, and we don't have to walk this journey alone.
No.
I love what you said about bringing in other people and allowing other people to help us. That sense of isolation can at times prevent us from getting the help that we need.
Yes.
But there is help available.
Absolutely.
And that's why we do what we do here, because in sharing these stories, it is helping to create empathy. It is helping people to know and to understand that they are not alone,
Yes.
and that there is help available out there for them.
Yes.
And getting to that place of closure is important, if for no other reason than it frees you up
Yes.
to be able to go out and help somebody else.
Yes. And on a final note, everything that you go through, it's not just for you.
It's not.
It is for somebody else that's coming. And that has been a reoccurring